Oh, what is happening, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Weekly. Fans, don't worry, you'll get Cat Comic Uno, so don't disappear on us because, she's not here. She's definitely coming as she is collaborating and she is running a few minutes late, so she will be here. But of course, you got yours truly, Comic Book Corner 2.0. And then, of course, you also have yes, Brant Fowler. So you have us right now to kick things off. Hopefully, you guys will enjoy the show tonight. We definitely have some great stuff to talk about. Obviously, our top 5 comics. We have our big books. We're going to talk about the little bit of news that we have. We're going to talk about some Dan Slott, maybe some Spider-Man talk. We're going to answer your questions live. We'll give you guys some shout outs out there. So before we get started, just want to give a quick shout outs here to get the key comic. He's on here. Kenneth is on here as well, who's had a lot to say in the chat even before the show started. Tevia is on the show. And then we have James Phelps, who says, "Evening, Brant and Mike. Always look forward to the show." Adam is on. What's up, Mike Spider Slayer? Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Like I said, we're going to have a good conversation today. And I think what we'll do in the meantime, while we're waiting for Kat, is maybe we'll just talk about some of the news topics that are on here. If you have anything to say about them.
Or I could go ahead and do my Kickstarter thing because I only have like half an hour before it ends. So yeah, so I'll drop the link in the chat and put the banner. There we go. So let me screen share that. I've got 36 minutes left on the campaign, so I wanted to just talk about it just a little bit. Won't take up a whole lot of time. There we go. Curious here, we're all mad here. Number 1, a Back to Wonderland comic. We just unlocked our 3rd stretch goal when we hit 16,000, so we're there. We're almost at 500 backers, so pretty cool. Pretty happy with the outcome. Doubled our funding goal, so we're pretty happy with that. But if you haven't backed it yet and you want to help support the project and bring it to life, a little bit about it. It features Alice's son, Alec, who is pulled into Wonderland by the Knave to kind of get the residents of Wonderland together to thwart a brewing hostile takeover as a civil war is starting to erupt in Wonderland. And the interesting thing about that is, like, Alice has been missing. She's been off on adventures and stuff, and Alec doesn't believe anything about Wonderland. So when he gets pulled in, he thinks he's having a fever dream or he's lost his mind, and he's, going through the paces with all that stuff. So it's a fun, different take on Wonderland. And you see our Mad Hatter cover there. That's one of our beautiful covers that we have available on the campaign. But yeah, like I said, 35 minutes to go. I'll show off some of the art here. That's the main cover by series artist Marco DeFillo and colorist Kieran Quigley. Actually, I think Marco colored that cover, but Kieran Quigley colors the interiors. There's stretch goals. Haven't updated the graphic yet, but that one is unlocked, so everybody's getting that cover stock upgrade that you're used to from Last Number Press books. There's some of the character designs. We got some preview pages. That's Alec right before he gets pulled into Wonderland. This is one of my favorite pages right here, where the floor is opening up and swallowing them into Wonderland, which is a really cool visual.
Cool.
Yeah. There he is, kind of being told what's going on and not believing it. We switch to the tea party, which is always a fun scene in Wonderland. And yeah, then we get back down to our covers. This is a cover by Kyle Roberts, colored by Gab Contreras. This is that Robin Richardson cover. Got a cover by Nito Diaz, Tiago Gomez, and Maury Hollowell, all Marvel and IDW and DC credits. Nito actually is drawing a bunch of the G.I. Joe covers right now for IDW. So if that looks familiar, yeah, style-wise, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's awesome.
Then we have this beautiful painted cover by Ksenia Zelentsova. They actually provided the original art piece for this cover, which did sell. And that's in the process of being shipped to us, so we can ship it out to backers, and that's pretty cool. And then we also have this print that is a crossover print with another campaign called Crossover Division, which I letter. If you back both campaigns, you get this print featuring Mad Hatter and Hank and Hector from Crossover Division. Then we also had this one we did with Tart as well, but Tart is over, so you can't back that. But yeah, so you can get any number of things. We actually also offer our puzzles. We've got the Wonderland and Neverland puzzles available on this campaign, both as tiers and add-ons. And we've got a collector's box where you can get everything. We also, I think late last week, we unlocked a new reward tier for a metal cover variant of the Mad Hatter cover, and that's also included in the box. So if you like metal covers, that's on the campaign as well. But anyway, I've taken up enough time for you guys. We are 32 minutes to go from closing the campaign out. So if you haven't backed it, go check it out at CuriouserComic.com or search for Curiouser. We're all mad here on Kickstarter. And thank you so much. And thanks to Mike and Kat, who will be here for giving me time to plug this as we close out the campaign today.
Yeah, and congratulations on being funded. So that's always,
thank you,
awesome. So, guys, back to Kickstarter. If you're definitely interested, it definitely helps out Brant and Last Ember Press. They put out some great products. When you talk about top quality covers and product, I kid you not, their stuff is really, really good. It puts like Marvel, DC, like their card stocks to shame, and that's no joke. I'm not saying that because Brant's my friend. It's honestly the truth. Okay,
appreciate that.
Yeah. I definitely don't skimp on that. We got a couple questions here. We got Willie, who says, "How come my notifications never go off?" You know what? I don't know. I think that's just been a YouTube thing forever. You know, they tell you, yeah, make sure you turn on the bell for notifications. It doesn't always work. The only thing I can say is maybe turn them off and then reset them and turn them back on again, and make sure you hit receive all notifications. Sometimes you can get partial notifications. So if we helped you with that, hopefully that answers your question there. Okay. Let's see. And then we got another comment here. It says from Mike. It says, anyone reading Bone Orchard Mythos from Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino? I think I heard of that. I didn't know that was out, though. I could have totally missed it.
Yeah, I have not heard of that one, actually. That one slipped my radar.
Yeah, I think I didn't see it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, what else we got? We got Parker's Luck. What's that? Hello, Mike and Brant. I'm going to both love and have my reasons of why Slott versus Wells is justified craziness to me. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll get in that conversation for sure. The bronze page says, hey, Mike and Brant, it seems like a long time. No Cat tonight? Hey, to the chat also. Cat will be here. She was working and she's running late, and she will be here shortly. That's why we're kind of stalling. Bear says hi. Tizzy says, hey, guys. Bear says lots of great DC books this week. Are you talking like today or last week, technically?
Yeah.
Willie says, okay, that's right. Let's see what Kenneth says. Have you been watching Superman and Lois? I have, and it's the best Superman family show since Smallville. It's so good. Have you been watching it, Brant, or no?
I watched maybe 3, maybe 4 episodes of it just like a couple of months ago. I hadn't been watching it the whole time, but I haven't gotten back to it. It's decent what I've watched so far.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I haven't even looked at it, but I hear so much good things about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So here it is. It says James said it's a hardcover with that Andrea Sorrentino and Jeff Lemire book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that makes sense, right? Any opinion on The Boys? Do you watch The Boys?
I do watch The Boys. I have not really gotten into this season yet. I watched episode 1. I know a lot of people are like, after they saw episode 1 of season 2, they're like, I'm done. And I can understand. It takes the graphic nature of that show to even another level. And
really?
Yeah. I'm not going to talk about what happens in that episode. But yeah, it makes me a little squeamish.
I'm gonna have to watch that. I'm still watching. I'm still watching Breaking Bad. I'm on
Oh,
season
yeah.
5. I'm on the last season now. And then I finished
Yeah.
watching Stranger Things, the last 2 episodes
Still
of that.
haven't started it.
No.
I'm burning through Justified though. I'm like almost through season 4 of Justified now.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's talk about a couple of these news pieces, and then we'll see if Kat wants to chime in on there. So, Brant, you want to talk about those news pieces?
Sure. Let me just switch. I can't even talk now. Switch to that screen. Let's start with I guess we'll start with the media news, which I I completely forgot to watch the trailers.
Oh
So,
my god!
yeah.
Here,
So
go
why don't
ahead.
you?
Watch a couple of the trailers real quick. I'm going to talk. I'll talk with the audience real quick.
Okay,
All right.
that's cool.
All right. Peter Luck says, also, Mike, I really enjoyed reading the first 5 issue trades of five first issues of Silver Coin this past Sunday, and I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. Yeah, I think that's kind of the point. It really is a great series. I definitely recommend it all the time. I mean, it's so good, man. So I'm glad you're enjoying it. Kenneth says Nightwing by Tom Taylor, best DC comic book out today. That's
Okay.
great. I mean, I like Nightwing. I just feel like the story is just a little bit of a stall right now.
Yeah, we'll be talking about those books next week, though.
Right, exactly. Same here, Mike. I'm on the last season of Breaking Bad. Oh, that's pretty badass. Yeah, I'm on episode 3 of season 5, and my gosh, this thing's getting crazy. Holy crap. Let's see. God, my thing is so sensitive today. The chats. It's like I can't highlight it without it like freaking out.
No.
Tom Taylor in Son of Kal is so bad, and it's a complete rate train wreck. Just right. Just don't read it. That's all I can say. If you don't like it, don't read it. It's not worth getting caught up in all that drama. Forgot to watch the trailers, Brant.
I always forget to watch the trailers.
Mike, do you own Amazing Spider-Man issue 194, first appearance of Black Cat? I'm attempting on picking up a graded copy. No, I don't. Actually, my shop recently had a 7.5 in the case, and it was like $450. I couldn't spend $450 on it. There was just no way. I saw it and I'm like, man, it's tempting, but it was just, there's no way I could do that. We got a backer.
Oh, thank you.
Like the main cover a lot and the preview pages. Can't wait to get my copy. So that's awesome. Thank you, Mr. Negative.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, hey, there she is.
I am here, and I left my AirPods at Phil's house, so I don't have AirPods, but I am here.
Well, you sound fine.
Thank you. Hopefully there's no echo or anything, but usually there's not, but let me know.
No. There's no echo at all.
All right, great. Where are we up to?
So we haven't even started yet. We were just about to start, and then Brant said, I didn't watch the trailer. So I said, you watch the trailers. I'll talk to the audience, and then maybe Kat will come back. And now you're here. I think Brant watched the trailers. Yes. I don't even know. So now we're good to go. We're kicking out the news. We're kicking off the news. We're going to talk about the trailers.
Okay. So let's get on to that news. And yeah, first up is let's talk about the Super Sons trailer. I have no interest in Super Sons, so I didn't watch this trailer, but let me hear your thoughts on Super Sons.
I mean, I just watched it and it was kind of hard to hear it, but visually it looked really cool. Like they mixed some like 3D elements to it and stuff, and it didn't look goofy or too comical. It looked like a serious, cool, fun story. So I'm all for it.
I actually liked it. I thought it was kind of cool, and it makes you appreciate what that was when that was around, right? Yeah. And so I think the only thing that you can say is it would make people want it even more and get more pissed off that John is older. You know what I'm saying? Unless they did like the Lost Adventures of the Super Sons or something like that, something that you never seen them do. I think it's a cool movie because I think it would be something that a younger audience would like as well. You know what I'm saying? So I think it could be an all ages type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's move on to a trailer I did see, the Paper Girls trailer, which I think they launched a larger trailer. I didn't get to see that one, but I saw the like 1 minute one. I think they had a 2 minute one as well. It looks cool. I will say, like, some of the visuals, like maybe the girls themselves, like makeup wise, look, because they're trying to look exactly like the comic. It feels like a little bit too fake to me, but I mean, it's the comic. Like, if you watch the trailer, it seems like they're gonna be hitting every single beat that happened in that first volume.
Yeah, it looks pretty faithful from what I saw, especially when she shows up on her older version's doorstep and all that stuff. So that pulled me in, though. It's like it's been so long since I read that, the first arc, obviously. So it's going to be fresh, and it's going to be a different take, and hopefully they do. I like faithful adaptations, but I also like when they switch it up a bit and do something a little bit different that we're not expecting. So I'm curious to see what they do with it.
I couldn't even tell you, like, if I watched the show, I couldn't remember what the hell happened. There would be certain things I would probably remember from the comic book, but
Right.
the comic book is so way out there, and there's so much that happens. It's just I probably would forget. So for me, watching it, it would be a totally new experience. It looked really cool. I liked how she saw her older self, and her older self saw her younger self. So I thought it was cool, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it still didn't give you all that much, but it gave you a little bit of insight, at least what the characters were like.
All right. Well, let's get into the other media news piece here, which is 8 Billion Genies gets an adaptation. So that means, that issue 1 is definitely getting more of that price tag, which I still have the issue 1, but I didn't get issue 2. I thought issue 1 was just okay. I do have an article about it on Pop First, though. So if you like the book, I interviewed the creators. So go check out Pop First for that. I'll leave a link. What do you guys think?
I mean, I could totally see this right from the start, this being picked up for something. This is a cool little story. I think it's going to be 8 issues, and why not? Like, why not have this as a show? I could totally see this as these little genies and the world coming to an end because people are making the bad wishes and stuff. So hopefully it does take off. Hopefully it will launch, and maybe this book will be worth $1,000, just like how Something is Killing the Children is. I mean, I like the concept of the story, though. I think it's pretty cool. So Tizzy said it's going for like $20 on eBay right now.
Nice. Yeah, I do have issue 2, and I think I've been pre-ordering every issue, so I've got that. I'm enjoying it too, and I could see definitely potential. I didn't know like if they were gonna go like movie, TV, animated, but I could definitely see something.
They want to make an expanded universe with it. They said they're like, oh, it's not just going to be this; it's going to be like a lot of things, kind of like a Marvel thing they want to do with it.
I mean, there's so much potential to tell so many different people's stories through it because
really
this is happening to everybody on the planet. Yeah,
right.
So it's gonna be fun to see.
Really expand on that for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with Mike Manhattan. Amazon should pick up Radiant Black for a cartoon series. That'd be cool. It's like an invincible version of Radiant Black.
I'm surprised that it hasn't. I mean, in the latest issue, I never talked to you guys about that because I was away. Did you notice the animated short?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we did talk about it on the show.
Okay.
It was cool. I mean, the animation was good.
Yeah, the animation was really good, and it gave you a really like insight of what their vision is like for the character.
Yeah,
sure.
I would be like all down for an animated series even before I saw that, but after seeing it, it's like, yeah, give that to me now.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, moving on to our comic news, which is not a ton, but we are going to talk about that bigger news piece, which is our title. But first, we're going to talk about the Young Avengers getting a webcomic, which is, I like the idea that they're trying to skew younger, which is exactly what I think you need for a Young Avengers title. But I hate that it's just on this Marvel app where no one besides like hardcore Marvel fans are probably buying. It's like, oh, it's cool that you're making this comic, but you're probably not publishing in the right area. Like, publish it on Webtoon, maybe just hit the graphic novel sphere. Like, try to get people to actually read this book. I feel like it's in this hidden corner that like 10 people are reading.
You know
I'm
when
not
it
even
will
reading
come
it. I'm
out?
a
It
Young
will come
Avengers
out.
fan.
It will come out in physical form sometime in the future.
But then they're still not hitting anyone new. They're still
No,
hitting.
you're right. I think
know?
I think it's a mistake, and but that's what they'll be. They'll be like, oh, well, it's going to come out in physical form in the future, and it's like no one is going to read it on that app, and it's just like they should do webtoons, just kind of like how DC did it, because a ton of people watch that, you know what I'm saying, or read that. So it's just like for it to become a Marvel Unlimited, I think it's dumb. And you know, how many people read the other Marvel books that came out on the Unlimited app? Probably nobody. You know, so
No.
they have that X-Men Green book. I think that was a Marvel app or whatnot.
They had the Weekend in Hulking book, but then it eventually came out physically.
Yeah. So
right. They all so far they've all come out physically, right?
Yes, I think
or,
so.
or have plans
have
to.
they?
What's that?
I said, have they?
Most of them, or at least like all the ones in the past, and then like that one, and I assume like any of them that are currently on there or recent would eventually, because they usually do.
I would hope so.
I don't know. Yeah, but I agree with you all. I think it's a mistake to just put it on their own platform. I don't know. When there's other platforms where you have more readers and you can reach new audiences and stuff, it just makes sense to branch out.
Yeah, I think that's something that DC definitely did right with their Webtoons move, and they have so many. So let's look subscriber-wise. Let's look at Webtoons Batman. Let's see how many subscribers they have. They have
a lot.
1.1 million, and they have 48.1 million views. That's a whole new set of people.
That's why it would be cool for them to do it, because then you would get some audience. Otherwise, you're getting people that are paying, you know, $60-something a year for Marvel Unlimited, and
those are already the hardcore fans. Like, you're targeting nobody.
And it's mixed in with all the other content too.
Yeah, it's too. Yeah, no, I think it's
not the definition of preaching to the choir. Yeah.
And also for that side, it's like, are like 18-year-olds, 16-year-olds reading that? No, they don't have enough money to spend $80 a year on
exactly.
Right.
That's why with Webtoons it's free, and you just can search and you find it, and you're like, oh shit, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then you can maybe make that physical book. You could collect it, you know, do stuff like that. There's definitely ways to double dip. I don't think the way they're doing it is fun, especially for a Young Avengers property, which is probably going to be a movie, which could be a real big hit to like get more people to read comics. So
oh yeah, absolutely.
It feels like a shame.
Are you guys? We got a question here. It said, "Did you guys ever watch the Halo TV series?"
I didn't even know it was out.
It is. Yeah, it's yeah, it's on my watch list, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
I don't have Paramount. I actually just dropped my cable service.
Yeah, I've got Paramount. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I had AT&T Uverse, and they raised my bill like $60 this past week.
Surprise.
And they weren't willing to do anything. So we were like, we did some research and we dropped it, and now I have YouTube TV. It's like
so much better.
That's what I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had YouTube TV for a few years now.
Have you?
It's so much better. But I've got Paramount through Amazon, so we've got that add-on or whatever.
Tevia says it's so bad. I guess that's why we haven't been hearing much about it. But I guess it's not so bad enough that people are talking. It's probably so mediocre that no one's talking about it. Kenneth has asked us multiple times, did I watch the last season of Supergirl? No, I don't have any plans to. I heard it was pretty bad, and I really didn't like what I was watching from Supergirl. So I dropped the show. I watched the last episode, though, and I was like, well, I don't need to watch more. It's a shame. I liked Supergirl for a very long time, but I don't. All those CW shows went downhill for me, except Legends of Tomorrow.
The only one I finished was Zero.
Yeah, same. I was like, okay, it lived long enough, and that was it. I was done. Arrow's my last one too. All right, well, let's get into our main topic, which is Dan Slott's returning to Spider-Man. I have so many thoughts about this. So our big question is, will this be bigger than Zeb Wells' book? I think it depends on what's happening in it. Like, is this going to be this like little offshoot? Is it actually going to affect the Spider-Man universe? Which I guess it is, because they're dealing with the Spider-Verse stuff with their prelude. But I
Let me
don't know.
interject real quick. I'm sorry.
What happened? Yeah,
We
go
just
for it.
hit 500 backers. So
Oh,
thank
nice.
you,
Congrats.
anybody watching.
Sweet.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice.
So
There you go. Go support. How many minutes does that have left?
13 minutes left.
Go
CuriousComic.com. Go check it out. Yeah.
Go check it out. But yeah, Dan Slott, I feel, he told everything he had to tell. I feel a little jaded to this. I feel like, he had a great Fantastic Four run. I just want him to do something different, because he only really did Fantastic Four in between Spider-Man. And he's like, let's do Spider-Man again. It's like, I'd rather do like create our own stuff, just do something new, because we just had him as a writer. Like, I'm not feeling this. I'll read it, obviously, and I hope it's great, but I'm not feeling it.
Don't forget, he did Iron Man too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did do Iron Man in between. Was he doing? No, he did Iron Man right after Spider-Man. He didn't do it at the same time.
He went to Iron Man and then he went to Fantastic Four. Iron Man, after he did that 2020 Iron Man event, then that ended, and now he's doing the Reckoning War, and it figures he's leaving that too. It seems like after every event he seems to leave, except Edge of Spider-Verse. Like, he continued on from there.
Mm-hmm.
So, when it comes to Dan Slott, I have like this love-hate thing with him, because he is like, I give him credit because he wrote the character for 10 years, and you don't see that anymore. You know what I'm saying? And he did good things and he did not so good things, right? I mean, yeah, he created the Spider-Verse. Look at what Spider-Verse is now. It's basically it's a movie. It got so popular. We got all these different Spider-Men. There were some good stories, like the Goblin stories. There was the Big Time story, the Spider Island story, the Clone Conspiracy story. He had creativity. He did things with the characters that no other people would probably do. You know what I'm saying? Were they all great? No. Like, for instance, this always sticks out. I hate what he did with Black Cat. He made her into a villain. He changed her costume. I hated it. Mary Jane, we never saw. There were certain things that he did to characters that I just didn't like, right? And that was our biggest complaint with Dan Slott. But I do like Superior Spider-Man. I liked how he gave Peter a different job, and now it's a matter of like, he kind of closed all that. And now it's like, well, what other story do you have to tell now? So does it play off of the Edge of Spider-Verse that is getting ready to come out again? Or does it, what happens from there? So does he have more story to tell?
I wanted another Edge of Spider-Verse series. It's like, I was already debating about that. I was like, do I want another one of these? I'm just like, the second one wasn't that great, like the only thing I even liked from the first one was Spider-Gwen from the one shots. I'm like, wasn't even sure if I needed that, but I was like, that's like a little fun little event that Dan Slott's going to be part of. It's cool that he's returning for a second, but to have him return again, I want to see him do like creator own stuff. That's what I want. That's what Dan Slott should be doing, in my opinion, or working on another Marvel character. But I want him to do something that's fresh, because I do like his writing, and I think he is so creative and so bold. And I want to see those efforts in another place. Again, we'll read Spider-Man. I hope it's wonderful and great, and I'm sure he has a brilliant idea, but I am skeptical.
Yeah. Real quick, Tizzy the Great, weight changing writers again? No, it's a separate book. So Dan Slott's getting a Spider-Man book, and Amazing will still be Zeb Wells.
Right. It's going to be it's just called Spider-Man. It's the adjectiveless Spider-Man book that was back out in that Todd McFarlane started back in the 90s.
Right.
If you guys weren't around back in the day, Spider-Man had multiple books. He had Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, and then the newest one was Spider-Man. So those are so now we just have Amazing Spider-Man, and then we'll have Spider-Man once again, and Dan Slott is writing that book, and supposedly it could cross over between Amazing and the Spider-Man book every once in a while. That's what was said in that article.
Yeah. One thing I didn't like was bringing Moreland back. I am so sick of Moreland. I want to move forward from that. I don't want more stories about Moreland and all of that side of Spider-Man. That was never my favorite stuff. And I don't know. It's going to be like a little bit nostalgic. You get Dan Slott and Mark Bagley, so that's going to be cool. But at the same time, I'm more inclined to agree with you all and just kind of want something different. So
I mean, when you look at it, it's like a lot of people don't like John Romita Jr.'s artwork, right?
yeah,
So, but you got the new writers, Zeb Wells, and people are like, oh, I'm not buying this book because of John Romita Jr. Now you get this Spider-Man book coming out, and then you got Mark Bagley doing the artwork, and so people are
Yeah.
like, oh, Mark Bagley, I'm on board. So it's like you got these, you're gonna have these two books that are like, it's like you just flip flop something. Like maybe if you had Dan Slott with John Romita Jr. and then you had Zeb Wells with Mark Bagley, then you got something going.
Yeah.
But I've
I'm
also
down
seen
with
Mark
that.
Bagley on Spider-Man so much, I'm just
Yeah.
like, give someone else a try. Like, I love you, Mark,
Right.
but I want to see you do something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
Definitely.
Yeah, I totally get it. I totally understand. They're just going with. I think what they're trying to do is they're going with something that maybe just works. You know
It's
what I'm
safe.
saying?
It's the safest thing they could ever do. It's so
Yeah.
safe.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
Spider-Man is not selling the way we want it to, probably. And they're like, okay, when was Spider-Man selling the most? Oh, yeah, Dan Slott. Mark Bagley. Oh, Ultimate Spider-Man also sold really well, too. Let's put these two together.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's just like we talked about last week with the storytelling. This is just another safe move to keep Spider-Man kind of status quo.
All right. Let's see what some of these. Let's see what's some of the comments. Let's see. My comments are so weird today.
Okay.
Okay, so we got that one. Let's see. Peter David, when he left the Hulk in the late 90s, then he came back on the Hulk miniseries for 20 something years. That's true. I mean, we see writers come back, like older writers come back. So Peter David is a good example because he's writing all those miniseries right now. He's writing he wrote the Symbiote Spider-Man. He wrote this Hulk series, but they're not ongoing series. You know what I'm saying?
It also, Dan Slott hasn't been gone that long. You know what I mean? It hasn't been that long.
5 years?
Yeah, it's not long enough to miss him.
Write Spider-Man for.
I also don't feel like he's teasing anything that's revolutionary.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see.
It feels like Nick Spencer wrote it longer because it came out so freaking often that it's hard to say.
Here's a good one. I think Rick Remender should write a Spider-Man book. That would be interesting.
It'd be different for sure.
It'd definitely be different. Why do we need Moreland to return again?
I don't know.
Man. He is the one though that could eliminate all those spiders. So that's why you have him come back because he is the one that eats them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The reason he's coming back is because what are you gonna say?
I was going to say they created too many spider characters, so they're bringing Moreland back to kill them all. Is that what's going on?
No, okay. The reason he's coming back is because Dan Slott created.
Well, that's true.
Him, so that's why he's coming back, and he also is doing the Spider-Verse story.
Did he create him, or did J. Michael Straczynski create him? I don't remember.
I thought he created it, maybe, but you might be right on that one.
I think you're right. I think Straczynski created him.
Yeah, because I think it was the other.
Yeah,
he just did more with him.
Slott did. You're correct on that. Maybe he'll use the negative next.
Parker Lutz says, I can say that most of Slott's stories are to me very bland. One fine example is the Clone Conspiracy was justified awfulness. His best book was his Spider-Man Human Torch crossover in the 90s was good.
I did not read that. I really like Superior Spider-Man. It took a while to get me on board with it, but once I started reading it, we've talked about it before, but I actually like that. And I like it. Yeah, and I like the beginning of his Fantastic Four run as well.
Yeah.
So
Superior Spider-Man was good. He had Ryan Stegman on the artwork on that in the beginning of that series, and leading up to Superior Spider-Man was really good too. Like the death of Peter Parker, Spider-Man, he died in issue 700. Like that was a very emotional comic book. I had a lot of fun reading that. I enjoyed it. I got emotional there. Those were some, those were some good stories. So if he can pull out, if he has more stories to tell and he can pull that emotion, to readers for that character again,
right,
then maybe that's a good thing. If Spider-Man is the only thing he has left in his blood to write, then as long as it's good, I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day.
Yeah, I wish I was more invested in what he's bringing this time.
Sure.
And maybe he'll surprise us. Maybe it'll go somewhere different.
Well, maybe it's just this is the beginning of it. Like it's got to start somewhere, and then maybe it leads into something else.
Yeah. But I would like to see somebody fresh. And I know they've been trying different people and stuff, and just nothing's quite stuck. But
maybe that's why they gave him the Spider-Man book.
Right.
And that's why Zeb Wells is on the main book now.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Because with Spider-Man, you could just always cancel that. You can never cancel Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
You get a new writer on it.
Very true.
Right. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see if I think, when you get those sales numbers, we'll find out what actually does outsell that main title. That would be bad, though, if a secondary book does outsell the main title. So I guess time will tell to find out if it does outsell it.
Yep.
All right.
That was all the news.
Quick, I got a comment here. My favorite Spider-Man reads were 1980s Amazing Spider-Man, Web, and Spectacular Spider-Man. I tuned out after 1988.
Wow.
So right before Jeff Lemire and Kyle Higgins should write a Spider-Man book. That's interesting.
I think they've moved on to doing their own stuff. Like Dan Slott should have done.
90 seconds left to back Curiouser, by the way. Just putting it out.
Do it last minute, guys. Last minute. Final call. All right. So that's all the news, right, Kat?
Yes.
Right.
Oh, before we get into the comics, though, I am going to promote my own Kickstarter. It's not ending ended in 3 minutes, you said?
60 seconds now.
All right.
So,
I would say
I'm watching the countdown.
Yours, but I don't think 60 seconds will help you.
I took the whole beginning of the show, so go ahead.
So yeah, I have Buy Visibility still buy. We have 15 days left. We are about, let's think, about 13 and a half. 13. No, we're not. How much are we to our goal? We are like $9,000 away from our goal. There you go. I don't know what math I was doing, but yeah, $9,000. So hopefully, you guys can check it out. It's Buy Visibility. There's some wonderful creators like Lisa Sterl, Christopher Peterson, Chris Sheehan. And it's all about bisexuality, but you don't have to, be bisexual or there's all different genres. So there's vampire sci-fi. There's all different types of stories. So I think anyone can really enjoy this. So hopefully guys go check it out. And I left the link in the comments below.
I have two computers. Like I have this one and I have another one over here, and they were out of sync. So I was seeing fireworks on my Kickstarter page over here and 10 seconds left on this one. But anyway, it's over. Thank you, 501 backers.
Congrats.
A little over 16,000. So thank you so much.
Nice. Good job. Kat, we had a question here. It says, Mike and Kat, who would you like to see write
Superman someday?
Yeah.
I think a Jeff Lemire actually would be really fun for that, just because he's done the Black Hammer stuff. I think it'd be interesting to see him write Superman.
That's a good pick, actually. I like that pick. That's really good. I don't know who I would like to write fucking Superman, but from what I hear, Action Comics is actually pretty good. So you might want to check that out. I just can't get into it because I just feel completely lost, but I hear it's been a solid read.
Yeah, I'm going to pick it up when he returns, I think. I feel like that's a pretty good jumping on point.
All right, so let's get into these comics here. So, oh shit, my thing just. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're going to talk about the big books so far. And the first book we're going to be talking about is Variants, issue 1. All right, I'm not picking up issue 2. This has been it's too much of the same thing. Like for me, the only difference here was Jessica Jones. She's dealing with her issues with, you know, Purple Man again, and for me, it's just like, oh look, and then there's Captain America, Jessica Jones at the end of it. I just feel like it's too much of the same thing. We're talking about different stuff. This is anything different to me, except just with a different character this time around. So I truly don't think I'm going to continue this. It just did not interest me at all. I was really kind of bored by it, actually.
I really agree. I love Jessica Jones and I love Gail Simone, but I hated the ending. I was like, oh my God, we've seen this so many times. And I just, there's so much promise of like seeing a detective story. Like you see Kelly Thompson's run. And I was like, that's how you do Jessica Jones. Like that's such a good run. And you read that one as well. I was like, that's it. Like that's what I want to see. And then seeing Purple Man again, like you said, I also don't know if I'm going to get issue 2. If it's like a week like this where I'm only getting like 8 books, I'll get it. But if I have a lot of books, I don't think there was much here to grab me.
Yeah, I thought it was fine, but the whole Purple Man thing, yeah, I wish they would just move on past that and do something completely fresh and different with Jessica Jones.
Right.
I didn't think it was a badly written story at all, and the art was fine. But yeah, I'm kind of tired of Purple Man and over that. And I know it's her nemesis, but still, we could use something fresh. Get her a new nemesis.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And again, that ending, I was just like, if we never saw a variant character before, it might have been okay.
Yeah.
But it's like one of the most common characters, like Captain America. We just saw Captain America Gwen in Gwenverse just pop up, and she's on a cover. So it's just like, come on, man. Like we can do better than this, right? Like I don't know. It was just there, and it just doesn't warrant consideration for another pickup for me.
It also seems completely out of character for any version of Jessica Jones to be Captain America, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seems like an odd fit. I'd rather see her be in some other character. Yeah.
Right. It just doesn't make sense at all. So I guess we were all kind of disappointed at that one, right?
Especially because it's the big book.
Yeah, I mean, you would think Gail Simone, Jessica Jones is back, but I was very reserved on this though to begin with, because I was like, oh, this is the thing called variants, and you get to see all these different versions of Jessica on there, and I'm like, I was already thinking that, so unfortunately. All right.
Debbie actually brings up a good point I just want to leave us on. Also, didn't Purple Man die in Devil's Reign? Like, I'm pretty sure he did, but just shows how unconnected all comics are as of recently.
Yeah, they kind of referenced that. I think she was trying to allude to that he didn't actually die, and that was off panel or something, right? Like, she saw him. He's not dead, but close, or whatever. Something
right.
Like that. I don't know.
All right, well, let's talk about the next book. We have a book I know that you guys are really excited about. This was public domain. This is issue 1. I thought the story, which is just interesting, I thought it was something different, but I was kind of bored by this one as well. Just because it was just like, what was it? This was like one of the first books I read too. It was like about a movie guy having rights to the movie or whatever. He was like underpaid, and then at the end of the issue, he winds up getting he finds the rights to it, or like he owns the rights to it, or something like that. Wasn't that what it was?
Yeah, it was like it was like the writer got like all the credit and all the money for the movie deals and everything, and the artist who actually created it didn't get anything,
right?
Or very little. And they found out that the artist there was paperwork that he owned it,
and that was at the very end of the issue.
Yeah, that was the cliffhanger. Yeah,
right.
Go ahead, Kat. No, go ahead.
No, go.
I was just gonna say I enjoyed it, and it was as comic fans, we can definitely relate to stories like that. But it was almost a little too meta.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, wow, this is just like I'm reading, I don't know, like not a documentary, but like a biopic or something.
It was weird. I was just
yeah,
like,
it was weird.
I was like, I don't want to read about stuff that I don't know, like that seems to happen on a daily basis. Like, people who go through this all the time. It's like Schuster not having the rights to Superman or something like that. It's just like what it was.
And the characters weren't interesting to me. I think that was the biggest thing, because I was really looking forward to this, because I heard so much hype, and I was like, oh, I get the meta-ness, but it's not like crossover. Where I wouldn't even say I love the characters there, but I think the meta-ness, and honestly, when you got to see like Donny Cates, I cared about as a character. I cared about like Chip Zdarsky as a character, and they brought those people to life. But this, I didn't care about anyone, and I'm like, oh, I get the commentary, but I don't have to read issue 2.
Yeah, there needed to be something else to it, I think.
Yeah,
to make
exactly. It just seemed
I
so very bland. Like, I'm like, is this really all I'm reading about? Is this writer and like this artist not, getting the credit that he deserves? Like, this is all this book is about. Like, you get to see him go on the red carpet. You get to see him sleep next to was it the writer who fell asleep? He's like, oh, this better not be one of these 2.5-hour movies.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, this is really all this comic is about, because this is very bland for me.
Yeah, it was weird. It was almost like an episode of like a, I don't know, procedural. You're just watching it play out in the courtroom later on.
That's funny. All right, so let's see. Let's move on to our number 5. Number 5, Brant, what you got?
Man, I'm still ranking my books. Come back to me. Go,
okay,
Kat, you go first.
Kat, you go.
Well, mine's quick. Out of default, because I read 8 books, it was public domain.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
All right, I'll go.
All right,
you want to go?
Okay,
You ready?
No, go ahead.
He's still not ready. Okay. Mine was actually Deathstroke Incorporated.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I like this. This was like a year 1 story with him.
I read it. I just hated it, so I'm excited to see why it's number 5.
I liked it. I mean, I thought, I told Brand at the beginning of the show, there wasn't that many like great books this week, but I did like this story. I liked obviously how they did the experiments on him, and how the super soldier serum, or whatever you want to call it at the time, didn't work for him. He was on death's doorstep, and how he was hired as this, glorified security guard, and he was trying to make a choice between his kids and his wife, or being being an army soldier, or whatever the case may be. And then at the end, you get to see him accept his first contract. I actually liked it. I thought it was fine. And seeing him struggle between being good and being bad, and what's right for him and what's wrong in society, I thought that was kind of an interesting story there. So I enjoyed it.
I just was expecting something else. Oh, you go.
No, go ahead. What were you expecting?
I was expecting something that had to do with the ending of. I expected seeing the ending of what we saw in the previous thing. I felt this so filler. It's like, all right, cool. I guess year 1. We've seen so many year 1s.
Well, that's what
I've seen so many year 1s of him. I read the previous Deathstroke stuff. We saw a lot of how, I won't say how he became Deathstroke, but a lot of his early family stuff. We saw that. I've seen this story before.
Uh-huh.
So I just
I knew this wasn't going to continue, though, because based off of what happened in Shadow War, he
died.
He died, but he got resurrected, and he, based off of Dark Crisis, he was the one that went to Titan's Tower and led them over and killed what's his face? Beast Boy.
Red X. Oh, Beast Boy.
Yeah, Beast
Yo,
Boy.
Beast
That's
Boy.
right.
So
Wait,
I
why
do
do
that.
you think you couldn't do that? Like expand upon that in the Deathstroke series?
Well, then that would be a tie-in. That would be another tie-in that they would have. So I guess that's why they just wanted to do this separate story for right now, I guess.
I thought maybe even doing something with Ravager, do something with, and I mean, you can't do anything with the whatever his face is. Respawn. I guess you could. It's just something. I don't know. It's just like so like, oh, we have nothing else to do, and we have a series. I guess we'll just do this.
Yeah, the thing I didn't like about it, and I mean, it was fine, but it was nothing I hadn't seen before. And then the ending was like, the choice was easy for me. I'm going to be a mercenary. It's like, you deadbeat dad. I don't like you. Go away. You know.
So I get it. I mean, I get it. But if you have never read a Destro comic book before, right, I can understand what they were trying to do with this.
Sure.
So, and like I said, I went through all my other comic books, and there was just nothing else for me that was better than this at that number 5 slot. And like I've read like 13 books or something like that.
No, yeah, this was a weak week. I don't think there was anything above 3.5 stars for me this week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Not me. I have books that are better than 3.5 stars. I just didn't have a depth full of books, you know. All right. So what is yours, Brant?
Still figuring it out.
I guess I'll just by default go with 7 Secrets, which it was a little lackluster ending. But it wasn't what I expected, and it kind of I was a little disappointed that Casper came back to life, because it's like this whole thing, you know, started with him dying, and it just kind of took that away from it. But you know, I love the series overall, so by default it gets my number 5, because like you both said, there wasn't a whole lot of great books this week. So.
Yeah, no, I was disappointed with this ending. I was like, I did not like that he came back. I didn't love the fight. I didn't like that Amon was just like good after the end, because he just got like a pat on the back, and I was like, man, this is not a great ending. Like I said, like you said, I think it'd be great. It's a great series. Still, it just did not stick the landing on this one.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Then I got a comment here. It says, hey, Mike, you should pick up some X books on a slow week. No, I'm not. It says they're starting to get really good. It's leading into Judgment Day. Knights of X, X-Force have been phenomenal in the last few months. I tried Knights of X. I couldn't get into it. X-Force I dropped a while ago. I will read the event. I'm definitely reading the event. Hopefully it leads into something else. I'm reading the gala, but I'm not. I've been burned so much on X books recently. It's just disappointing. And, you know, we'll see what happens after this gala and stuff like that. Maybe things will start to change, but I don't know.
I did get X-Men Red this week.
Did you?
It was fine. It's nothing spectacular, though.
Right.
You know, it's just,
Yeah. I just they got too much. They don't need Mars, and they don't need Krakoa or whatever it is. You know, they don't need all these different places. It's like, why can't they be on one place? And why do we need resurrection protocols? And just why do we need 800 X-Men books when they have no real enemies to fight? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
To me, you know, it's kind of weird. All right, so let's move forward here. Let's talk about Iron Cat issue 1. So technically, it's not an Iron Cat book. It's like it is basically a Black Cat book.
Right.
Did you read this, Cat, or no?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I was really new reader friendly, because I did not read any of the
Yeah.
Black Cat stuff, and I was like, oh, this seemed interesting. And I liked it, honestly. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was fun. This is exactly what I want in a Marvel comic. It like, you get information about the character. Like, there's some character growth. You get to see something you've never seen from the character. You dig into her past a little bit. You get a little bit from her ex-girlfriend, and then she reappears, and it actually plays into the plot. There's good action, good art. It kind of did everything I wanted. And then you get to see her team up with an unlikely hero, which is Tony. So I liked it a lot. It was good. And like I said, really new reader friendly, which was great.
Yeah, they recapped everything you needed to know from the series and things that happened there that tied into this story. And you also you got plenty of action. You got some drama. You got a little comedy with her and Tony, and so you got so much to love in this. And as a fan of the Black Cat series, it was just if you have been reading it, it's just another great issue of Black Cat. Yeah,
it adds to it. And supposedly this character's been around before, her girlfriend. So
I guess I don't know the history
supposedly
there,
she was like in old issues of Peter Parker's Spectacular.
It makes sense.
Spider-Man or something like that. But I like this. I like this book. I mean, when you saw the flashback of her, of her girlfriend, I didn't realize it was going to be her girlfriend at the beginning of the issue. And then I kind of figured it out as we got closer to the end. And I was like, wow, I mean, that was pretty cool, and I mean, it was recently that we got Black Cat that we knew that she was bisexual. And I think a character like Black Cat, I think that's perfectly fine. I mean, people might get upset at that, but I don't understand why. Just because you saw her with Peter doesn't mean that she could not be bi. I mean, some people have a relationship with a male, and that's all you see. And then maybe it takes years later to get into another relationship, and this time it has to be with a female,
And I like this representation a lot because it's the thing, the complaint I've had with Jay and John is like, oh, we never get to see the relationship. Like, it's just like, oh, it's just, they don't actually do anything with the story. And here in just a couple of pages, it's like, oh, cool. She's part of the narrative. You get to see that was her ex-girlfriend. Like, there was more story in this one issue about them than there was in 10 of Jay and John. So I like that we actually got a story from them, and I understood their relationship.
And you see why. And the great thing is the ex-girl, was her name Tara? Was that what it was?
Tamara.
There you go.
Yeah. So the only reason why she went after her was because she killed Black Fox, and Black Fox, she goes, Black Fox would never do that. He would die for you, and you decided to kill him. And it was now you get to see that kind of that revenge thing. Like, it just, you can see the pain between the two characters, I thought it was a good book. I really did. I thought it was very interesting. And like I said, it explored her bisexuality more. I mean, she was also with Odessa in the from Spider-Man series as well. We knew that last time. So I just think it builds the character. And I think that people that are upset at her being bisexual, for years and years, all we've known Black Cat was she was anti-hero, Peter's lover, and that's really it. She didn't have that much character development or character growth, right? I think there's been a few things done, but Jed MacKay has really added to her and makes me enjoy the character even that much more.
And she was bi in the MC too. So she was bi in the Spider-Girl books in like the 90s. So it really doesn't come from left field because it comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's so interesting. I think it was when was Tevye when was Black Cat bisexual? It was from the same Spider-Girl comics you like. It came from there.
Yeah, really cool. And the artwork in this book, we talked about it, is the same artist that did the most recent Spider-Woman series. So when I saw that artwork in there, I'm like, man, this art looks familiar. And then I realized that it came from that same artist. I was like, man, that's pretty freaking awesome. Thank you, Empire Comics, for joining the show. Glad you can finally catch us live. That's awesome. What do we got here? I collect variants from all of Mike's comic cover series every week. That's nice. I'm glad I can help. That's part of the reason why I do it too, so you guys can see those awesome covers. All humans need a hero to relate to.
Absolutely.
So, yep, absolutely is right.
Yep.
All right, so that was
I hope no one relates to Black Cat, being a thief, but I hope you can relate to sexuality.
So we talked about 7 Secrets already, right? So we'll move on to number 4, and this time I'll start with Kat. I won't start with Brant. So Kat, number 4.
Out of default, it was variants. After this, I liked my books, but number 4 is variants.
Gotcha. Brant, what was yours?
8 Billion Genies.
It is mine too.
So, okay.
See,
I didn't like.
you're right there.
Yeah. I didn't like this one as much as the first issue. In which I don't think Kat would like this one either.
I'm glad I didn't miss anything then.
Yeah, I mean it's the same. It's like builds on it, and there's more stuff happening, and you're adding to the mythos. And like Mike said in our chat, you get to know more about like what the genie's purpose is, and the rules for the wishes and all that kind of stuff. But beyond that, it was more of the same stuff. And man, there's some stupid people out there in the world in this comic that do some really stupid things with their wishes, and they make a big point about that. And I thought that was the funny part, that like the genies were talking about, they like all these world leaders simultaneously asked for their country to be the most powerful, and they just all canceled each other out.
Yeah.
So nobody got their wish.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. It was interesting.
That's what was cool about it. It's basically like Brant said, you learn more about the genies and what the rules are with the wishes. And so I think they needed to explain that so they can move the story forward. So it makes sense now to the reader there.
Yeah, because I mean, there was a lot of questions. It's like, why can't they just wish for 1,000 wishes? Why can't they do this? All that stuff.
Exactly. So that's just like Charles Soule made it a thing, being like, okay, let's get this shit out of the way so we can continue our story now.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's why it went. So it's pretty smart. All right. So I got number 4 out of the way. So let's move on. Let's talk about Robin issue 15. So this is now kind of like the issue before things start heating up, before the series ends. Basically, it's just father, mother, and son. And Robin or Damian has to make a choice where he wants to be. Does he want to be with his dad? Does he want to be with his mom? But at the end of the day, he decides that he wants to be by himself. And so he goes back to Lazarus Island, and it looks like he's making it his base of operations.
Yeah. I thought it was an interesting twist how Talia got loose, because I didn't see that coming. I didn't see her making a deal with the DEO to be basically a spy for the Lazarus League of whatever they're called now. I've lost track of which organization she's with now. But I thought that was an interesting little twist. But yeah, it was definitely a transitional issue to get everybody in place for the next stage of the story. So it was fine. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy Robin. But I'm looking forward to the next issue a little bit more, I think.
Man, we're almost done. We got 2 issues left.
Yeah.
Right. I can't believe that. No, I like this one. I thought it was like it just shows how much Damian has grown. Just to see his relationship with his parents, I thought was really interesting, and that dynamic, and especially that last scene, I thought was pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So now we're going to go on to She-Hulk issue 4. I read this book really late at night, and so I could even begin to tell you what happened in this book, and I read it on Wednesday last week. All as I remember is that it was more of her talking with
Jack.
Yeah, Jack Hartz. And I remember telling myself, this is more of the same thing. I do know that they were fighting with Titania and She-Hulk were sparring with each other in the beginning of the issue as well. But I felt like it didn't progress the story all that much.
No,
you guys talk about it, because I don't remember much else of what happened in it.
It definitely didn't progress the story, but there was a lot of fun moments. It's kind of what Rainbow does. It's like there's good character moments. I really liked the interaction between her and Jack of Hearts, like just what they're talked about. Like I liked about her double identity and how he can relate to that, and just seeing them connect and make a bigger bond. And then also her lawyer stuff. We get more information about like how she's going to kind of do the superhero business under the table. And then you get to see a little bit from the Fight Club. It doesn't move much, but I still had a fun time with it.
Oh, I do remember the parts where all the superheroes are gathering in her little office. I thought that was kind of cool. That was hilarious.
That was funny. And Thing being upset he wasn't invited to the fight club and
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah, it was that's what it was. It was all those fun moments that Kat mentioned, and the pacing was very similar in Runaways. You got a lot of character moments and stuff like that, and it took a long time to build the actual plot.
I think supposedly we saw the villain was showing itself, but you didn't see the villain's face.
Yeah.
You did see that in it, which was interesting too. I like that cliffhanger.
So hopefully now, like, things will pick up. Like, I don't want I like the character moments, but it's kind of would suffer the same thing that Nightwing does. Like, I like character moments, but I also want plot progression.
I think Rainbow does it better than Tom Taylor as a Nightwing. Like, Rainbow does a lot of character moments, but she does do stuff with them. Like, they eventually go somewhere and they feel planned. I feel like Nightwing's like, I don't know if there actually is a plot. There always is a plot in Runaways in this, but it just takes a little longer to get there.
I think with Nightwing there is plot, but it was interrupted several times. You know, for different things. It was, you know, he had to go to Gotham and do this, and he had to go there and do this, and it took a while to get back to it. But there's no distractions, there's no interruptions, and we're seeing little pieces of the plot form in the background, and then, you know, it'll build up and blow up into.
But when it blows up, it blows up. Like,
exactly,
issues, like when it gets. Like, it takes, let's say, like 7 issues to build up. They're gonna have a lot of these character stories, and then that one issue, literally everything happens and nothing will be the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We got comments here. First 2 rules of Fight Club: don't talk about Fight Club. Then Kenneth goes, first 2 rules of Superhero Fight Club: don't talk about Fight Club.
Very true.
That's funny. All right, pretty cool. Oh man, what happened to my drive? Window shutting. Hold on 1 second. All right. So next book is our number 3. Brant, can you go for your number 3?
Yeah, I'm good from here on out.
All right.
Robin was my number 3, so we already talked about it.
What about you, Kat?
Mine was Iron Cat. We already talked about it.
Okay. And then my number 3 was Robin. So we're all on the same wavelength around here, so it's pretty good. All right, here's a book that I did not read.
You didn't have to.
Sins of Black Flamingo, issue 1.
I actually read this digitally first, and I was gonna get it physically, and then I didn't because I didn't like it. I like the art a lot. It's just like an espionage book. But I just didn't care for this one.
So this is not what I expected from this book, because I didn't expect it to take a supernatural twist, which is what it did towards the end. And I was a little bored by the first half of it. And it was a lot of exposition, a lot of explanation, a lot of, I don't know, felt like even though I agreed with a lot of it, it still felt like I was being preached at, you know what I mean? So I didn't like that part of it. But then, like, the middle of it, I thought was fine, but it just took a different direction than I expected. So I didn't love it. But it was.
Are you going to pick up issue 2 or no?
I think I actually pre-ordered issue 2. Beyond that, probably not, unless it just like blows me away.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm not getting issue 2.
All right. Well, we talked about Deathstroke Incorporated, so let's move on to our number 2. And Kat, what was your number 2?
Mine was Robin. We already talked about it.
Nice. We're just all on the same length here. What do you got, Brant?
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. So what is your number 2? All right. My number 2 was a book that you guys don't read, and it was Life Zero.
I was like, it's either a Spawn book or
issue 5. So this book is a gut puncher, man. I told you, remember when I told you that the 2 parents' little girl wound up getting shot and the soldier shot her just right in front of the parents? Well, let's just say the dad wound up getting revenge, killed that guy. You know what I'm saying? And now they got back to the army base, and we found out that the wife wound up getting bit as well. Okay. And the husband was about to put her out of her misery. And the soldier came in time and pushed his gun away. And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, this is not contagious this way. He's like, you can't pass it on by a bite or an infection like that. He's like, it was a cloud that went over the atmosphere that was some kind of biochemical weapon that changed everybody to these monsters. Certain people were selected to not get this, and you didn't know it. It was supposedly your flu shot. So people that got flu shots were actually immune to this zombie apocalypse. So if you did not get this shot, you would have gotten infected from this cloud. So basically what happened is the daughter died for no reason.
Wow.
So it was really just a really tough type of book. But this continues. It's got one more issue. The storytelling in this is absolutely amazing. It is so well done. And that artwork done by Chiquetto is amazing. It always surprises me. Every time I think there can't be any more emotion in this book, it always finds a way to just jaw drop you, you know? So I really enjoyed this book. So good stuff here.
That's awesome.
All right. So now we will talk about, well, we talked about Billion Genies, so that's done. So we just jump right into our number one. So, Kat, what was your number one?
I'm a She-Hulk. Knowing where Rainbow's going, I thought this was a good build-up issue.
All right. And Brent?
Iron Cat.
Iron Cat. And mine was also Iron Cat. So we're right there. So, oh, I got a comment here that I made a mistake on a video. It says Mike's video about top 10 covers had a couple of mistakes. I don't know if he noticed that today. I don't know. So if you want to point them out to me, go for it. So I get the information from the website League of Comic Geeks. So if there's mistakes, it's on them. I just follow what they say. So yeah, if you want to point that out, go for it. Okay. So yeah, that's all that comic news. So that went pretty quick. It went a lot quicker than I thought it did, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, we had a quick show. I think because there's like, I only got 8 books, so it was kind of a slow week for comics in that regard. But then also the news, man. Only big thing was really the Dan Slott thing that came out. Even when we were trying to figure out our title, I'm like, we kind of got to talk about this Dan Slott thing because that's all there really was this week.
Yeah.
Good, Comic-Con's coming up soon, so they're not announcing anything until then.
But usually Marvel does. They just like lay everything out before. But this time they didn't.
Like
so.
2 weeks, so I think we have maybe one more week. But also, look, the San Diego had such a hiatus. I think maybe they kind of see the fun in it again. I think maybe they are waiting. Like Marvel Studios is returning there. They kept it for a little while at D23, I think it's called. So yeah, no, I think they're trying to hype it up again. So
That's good. I hope so.
I think we're gonna have a lot of that at San Diego, but I think we're not gonna have a lot of news until then. But I have more books next week or tomorrow, so that's at least good.
Yeah, there's some good books coming out for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into those with our most anticipated then.
Gotcha.
Nice little segue.
Yeah, hey, I didn't do it on purpose, but
it worked. So yeah, it looks like we'll save this one for last. So let's just do our number 3s and 2s because we all have the same number 1 book this time, and I think we can talk a little bit about that. But I'll actually start. My number 3 is Multiversity Teen Justice number 2. I actually really like that first issue. I know you didn't love it, Kat.
I'm not picking it up. You have to tell me how issue 2 was.
Definitely. I enjoyed it, so I will. And then Strange Academy number 18. It says everything will change forever. So we'll see what the hype is with issue 18. But I do enjoy that series, and it's been a while since the last issue.
That's it, though.
So yeah, that's it. So we'll see where they
for the first volume. Yeah,
right. So yeah, hopefully it'll be a good final issue then. So Mike, what were your 3 and 2?
So I have Carnage issue 4. Definitely a great horror type of book for a Carnage series. It's basically how I've always envisioned Carnage to be this psycho psycho murderer type of thing, and this book hits on all those tones, and him taking over like some of Spider-Man's villains is pretty interesting. He gives powers to the investigator that's hunting him down. I think he gets like the thrill of the hunt, like he likes that, being chased or whatnot. And then he like gives hope to this guy that wants to be him, so he tags him along. Just so many little different things that are going on in this book, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it too, and I think that's the only good version of Carnage, is when he's just this murderous psycho.
Yeah, but that's what he is. That's what he should be. And then my number 2 I have is The Closet, issue 2. James Tynion is the one that comes up with this book, and it's about a little boy who's sees monsters in his closet. His dad's like, yeah, that's bullshit, there are no monsters in your closet. And then you actually see the monster come out of his closet, goes on top of his bed, and freaks out. And dad's like, dude, what's wrong? And he's like, monster. It's like, don't worry, you're not going to see him anymore. And then it's like, you see him actually leaving the current closet because he's getting ready to go to a new house. It's just weird, dude. This freaky stuff. It's like, I love these horror books, and James Tynion's really good at writing them. So I'm looking forward to seeing, the development of this book, because that was just that cliffhanger. So
it's only 3 issues too. So
is it really?
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Only 3.
Okay.
Wow, that is a small series.
Yeah. Tight storytelling.
Yep.
All right. So, Kat, what were your 3 and 2?
My number 3 was Firepower issue 22. I love Firepower. It's always a fun series. Even if it's slow, there's always some good action or a good character beat. So looking forward to that. And then number 2 is Jane Foster and the Mighty Thor. I really liked that first issue. I was pleasantly surprised. I shouldn't be, because it's the same writer who's been writing Valkyries, and she's great.
Right.
But I was pleasantly surprised by how much they're able to fit in everything that's happening with Valkyrie, but still tell this Thor story of her, possibly becoming Thor. So I enjoy it a lot, and always love a Jane Foster story. And again, I love that it's been the same writer since day one, and she's great. I've talked to her before, and she's a wonderful person too. So I really like the series.
Yeah, I really like that first issue too. So. And then all our number 1s is the Batman 125 with the new creative team.
I mean, how can it not be? Honestly, I did a top 10 most anticipated books for the month, and it was between Spider-Man issue 900 and that. But Batman actually made the number 1, because I don't know if 900 is going to be good. So I'm like, it hasn't been great this series. So I'm like, I put number 2 as 900. Even though I love Spider-Man more than Batman, I'm like, I think this is actually going to be really, really good, just because of the creative team and what's being promised.
Yeah, I mean, it's Chip Zdarsky writing Batman, so we've seen what he can do with street level characters. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think it's going to be really good, and I think it's going to be something different, and Amazing Spider-Man, sadly, might be more of the same. So I totally understand that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think the Amazing Spider-Man issue, I think it's just going to be an issue just celebrating the character. I think it's going to be, it's going to be that story with the Adaptoid in there, but I think it's just going to be that one and done type of story. It's going to be oversized, and that's what you're going to get, because it's traditional Spider-Man. It's basically Spider-Man, Sinister Six, Adaptoid style.
But they usually build to something with these issues. They usually give a cliffhanger of like, this is going to happen next, and I'm worried that they're not going to do that with this issue.
You might. I feel like Marvel's milestone issues tend to be be than DC's Marvel.
I agree with that.
There's at least a solid story in there.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, because usually it's just like, like you said, they're short stories. This is like an actual story. I'll give them that, but I want this to be like, this has been building for so long, and they're like, don't worry, everything's gonna be 900. Don't worry, everything's gonna change. It's gonna be great.
I mean, both 700 and 800 big things happen, so hopefully,
and good stuff happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Did Dan Slott write both of them?
I think he did.
That's crazy to think. They were both very good issues.
Yeah.
700, 800 he did do. Because 700 was the one that led into Superior Spider-Man.
Right.
Yes. it goes Peter died, and then 800 was his last issue, and it was Flash's death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So cool stuff, man. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited about Batman. I think it's about time. Who wrote the last the arc? Who was it?
Williamson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We were like all excited about that. We're like, oh yeah, Joshua Williams but we did talk about that. Oh, we don't know how long he could do it because he's got so much going on. And it like quickly fizzled out. I remember it was just like, I think he knew since he wasn't going to write it anymore. It was like, okay, this is done, because Robin, you can tell he had like a definitive story for Robin. Like he knew what he wanted to do with that story. Right. And then it just seemed like Batman, I felt like maybe he had an idea, and then they said, well, now we're going to put Chip Zdarsky on it. So he's probably okay for whatever. Or he said, I can't do all this because I got to do Crisis. So
maybe.
Or he's like, I'm going to do my own stuff and create our own stuff and go to Substack.
Yeah. But I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be good. We're getting introduced to a new villain again. And that'd be cool. But you got was it Jorge Jimenez who does the art?
Yeah, Jorge is doing art. Like there's so many wins in this column.
Oh my god! I saw preview pages of it of the book. It looks beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So I don't know. We'll see. And then with Detective soon, we're going to be getting Ron B in the next issue. So that could be really good too. So at least we got the 2 Batman books with some pretty solid creators there. Now we just got to get something else going.
Right.
Yes.
So, all right. We got pro wrestling question there or comment there, Brent.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Always, there we go. I've always liked pro wrestling until recent time. Sometimes I want to tune in, but I remind myself, no, I don't watch that no more. I guess I'm sour. Vince never called. Okay. So are you were you a wrestler? Did you wrestle on the indies? Want to get that call up? Is that what you're talking about? But I'm the wrestling guy here, and I watch all kinds of wrestling still to this day. Never stopped.
Yeah, I stopped.
Most people do.
Long time ago. Yeah. All right, so that's about it, guys. Right, that's all we have for you guys tonight. So thank you for watching. Thanks for all the wonderful comments and questions and participating in the show. We'll be back next week for another episode. Hopefully, we'll have more news, great stuff like that, and maybe some more great comics to talk about as well. So, guys. Thank you. And as always, remember, if you like the show, please give it a thumbs up, guys. Very important. Help support the channel. Let people know that it exists. Remember, hit those notifications, even though they don't always work all the time. If it's not working, unnotify, then re-notify, and make sure you hit all notifications. It's like a computer. Sometimes you got to reboot it. I don't know what else to tell you. Or get in contact with YouTube. Maybe they can help you. Subscribe to our channels if you haven't subscribed to Comic Book Corner 2.0 and Comic Book Weekly. And of course, follow us on social media, which is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your comics tomorrow, everyone. Good night.